Right now, everybody is asking the question, is Marvel failing? Is Marvel dying? Is Marvel done? And some people out there have already gone as far as stating, like it's a fact, Marvel is done. Marvel is over. But what if I told you that if Marvel Studios just fixed one main problem, then nobody would be thinking or stating this? And the great news is, Marvel Studios knows this problem and they are already trying to fix it. Yes, Marvel Studios has had a rough go recently, even I can admit that. The Miss Marvel series, although very, very well liked among the fandom, unfortunately didn't perform very well for views on Disney+. She-Hulk was not really a success among the fandom, neither was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then we had the Secret Invasion ending, which really a lot of the fandom did not like. And unfortunately, people were already talking poorly about the Marvels before it even came out. And then it did come out, and people are talking even more poorly about the MCU right now more than ever. And even the major entertainment outlets are writing articles about the future of Marvel Studios. Variety even did what many people have called a hit piece on Marvel Studios about how they were failing with the headline, "Is Marvel in Trouble?" And this was before the Marvels came out. And now that the Marvels is out and it's not performing too well at the box office yet, everybody really is jumping on the train of Marvel is in trouble. What are they going to do? And people are genuinely concerned. In fact, the Variety hit piece article said this: Marvel is truly effed with the whole Kang angle, says one top dealmaker who has seen the final Loki episode, and they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently because of the WGA strike. But I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. However, that did not end up being true. Also, side note, that was very untrue. It's actually very easy to move forward right now with Kang. The finale for Loki Season 2 really set up Kang the Conqueror to be a huge part of the multiverse saga. Like he's supposed to be, I don't know, the main villain or something. I digress. The truth is, Marvel has really one main problem. And if addressed and fixed, would really fix everything if they simply focused on this before anything else and gave it the top priority. And this problem is the writing. This may seem like an obvious problem, but a lot of people do not realize how much the writing affects other things like the filming and the visual effects. Here's the thing, if you fix the writing, it pretty much automatically fixes some other things as well and drastically reduces problems for movies and shows at Marvel Studios. We do have some great news though, that comes in the form of Loki Season 2 that will prove my entire point of the writing being the main problem of the MCU. Let me explain. You see, Loki Season 2 did something that not a lot of Marvel projects have done recently, and that is, they finished the writing before they filmed. They did scrap one episode, episode 5, which they rewrote, but they rewrote this before they started filming. This really is a huge issue that Marvel Studios tends to do a lot recently. Fixing the writing and then combining this with scaling back a bit on content will revitalize the MCU and Marvel Studios. Many of you can probably relate to this. Before, the MCU films used to be huge events, and the writing for them was always really good. When you went to see a Marvel film, you expected it to be amazing, and more often than not, they were. However, today, Marvel projects aren't huge events because they happen all the time, and we have so much content now that doesn't necessarily feel important to the overall MCU or doesn't feel like it connects to the overall MCU. It makes you feel like you don't have to watch everything that comes out. So when you go into yet another show that you may not be the most excited about, and then you see that it's very poorly written, you get discouraged and maybe start to think and ask yourself, is Marvel failing? And the answer is no, not overall at least. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Loki Season 2 proved Marvel still has that Marvel spark, and actually both of these films succeeded because of the writing. Here's the thing though, the writing was done in a very specific way. It was finished before they filmed. This is the main problem. The Variety article talked about how the writing team and the VFX team were forced to work on rewrites and reshoots really close to the deadline of the movies or shows being released. They had to do all of this after a lot was already shot for some projects. This is an issue and Marvel has been doing it a lot. We hear about this frequently. We hear about reshoots all the time. In fact, Marvel just delayed a lot of projects. Why? Reshoots and rewrites. This happens because they don't lock down a great script beforehand, and then they have to go back, rewrite, reshoot, redo the VFX, and when that happens and you don't have a lot of time with deadlines approaching, the movie or the show ends up messy and bad with bad VFX. However, the two recent massive successes from Marvel Studios, Loki Season 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, both had finalized great scripts before filming began. This caused everything to go smoothly and the shooting to be done with ease. And then the VFX artists had time to work on what they got and make them great because they weren't rushed to hit a deadline because of reshoots. That's why Loki looks fantastic. Everything that goes on in Loki is amazing. Then we have the Marvels, which I didn't enjoy as much as I really wanted to, and that's because honestly, the story was kind of everywhere. The writing just wasn't that good to me. It had some great parts in it, don't get me wrong, but there really lacked a solid plot. The plot was kind of weak and I really just didn't feel much for the villain at all. And of course, the movie just wasn't as big as Marvel made it out to be. And they overhyped it because they knew it wasn't exactly going to be amazing. If you loved it, fantastic. I'm super happy for you. I wish I did. I, however, don't think it's as bad as some people are stating. But what do we know about the Marvels? It underwent a lot of reshoots because they kept changing the story. So again, going back to not having solid writing, then when you do rewrites, you get reshoots and the VFX have to be redone, and it just causes a lot of problems. So if they just honed in and focused on writing good scripts from the very beginning, it really would fix almost everything. And the good thing is, Marvel knows what the problem is. Bad stories and then too much content, which in turn produces more bad stories. They know this and they are addressing it now. In fact, yesterday, The Hollywood Reporter did an article about this with the title, Marvel Studios Taking Stock of Strategy Amid the Marvels Meltdown. Yes, we get it, the Marvels isn't doing that well at the box office, but come on, did anybody really expect it to do phenomenal? It had a lot going against it that unfortunately was not its own fault, like all of the strikes that went down. The cast couldn't even promote the film. But they do go on to talk about Marvel's new strategy. They state that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger have already said that they are going to be scaling back a bit, which is good. We've heard this already, but they also go on to talk about the recent delays. If you haven't heard, Deadpool 3 is the only film that we are going to be getting from Marvel in 2024. Last Thursday, Marvel Studios announced that they delayed Captain America: New World Order, Blade, and the Thunderbolts. And according to The Hollywood Reporter, this is for a very specific reason. And although the production being shut down for these is a part of the reason, it isn't the only reason. According to The Hollywood Reporter, they delayed these so they could basically write a better script and do reshoots for movies that have already been shot, aka writing better scenes. Basically, they're taking more time to work on the script. It's also ironic that Deadpool 3 is the only one who stuck because Ryan Reynolds was personally involved with the writing. He wrote most of it himself. Yes, he did have help, of course, but you knew Ryan Reynolds wasn't going to let this script be bad, especially when you have Hugh Jackman and Sean Levy there with him. So no surprise here that the one movie that probably has the best writing is the one who stuck to its date. Plus, of course, Marvel Studios needs something to come out in 2024. But this is good news. It sucks that there are delays, but if they're going to make them better by fixing the scripts, by fixing the writing, awesome. Too bad they didn't do that before they started everything, but Marvel Studios knows going forward, this is their biggest issue, and if they fix this, then they can bounce back super quickly. This combined with what they've already said they're gonna do, them scaling back a little bit, making these MCU projects feel like big events once again, important events, well, that will revitalize the MCU, and I think Marvel Studios is just about to do that. Fingers crossed, but go ahead and let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. How have you perceived the writing recently from the Marvel Studios shows and movies? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on the MCU. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items. The winner picks one item and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.